I don't care about the whole politics of it all, especially in our society. It's all ridiculous. So I don't come from that pocket who says, why did you change?
Binksy.
Dear Ian, or iDubbbz, you used to be a funny guy. What happened? I think you're still funny. I think you make much less attempts at being funny. But I would even argue that maybe you didn't make too hard of an attempt to be funny before. You were just living in your own autistic space. I want to say that I don't hate you, and I don't. I don't hate anybody. All of you humans are equally demented. But I do feel like there was a shift. Oh, we've heard it all before. Everyone says it. Political this, political that. I don't know that people hate you because of the political shift that you seem to make. Although it's been said, and I don't think that people hate you because of this change in opinion that you seem to have had about people who work in certain jobs, if you know what I mean, as it relates to your partner, which I don't care about any of that stuff. But you had a charm, you had an outside the box thinking, you had a way of being that was very appealing to everyone. I get it. It's not all about appeal, but what is it about? It's about being a person, being your own person, and what it feels like to people like me who I'd say I don't care about the whole politics of it all, especially in our society. It's all ridiculous. So I don't come from that pocket who says, why did you change? I don't care if you change. People develop, people change, people's opinions go wherever they want. I don't care. It's about what you're presenting, what you're delivering. I have no complaint to you. If this is the person that you like more, fine. I don't love, and this is just my opinion, that you shifted entirely because of a fan base that you accumulated that you didn't like. I think there's a space in between that you could have existed in, and that space would have been saying things like, hey, this is what happened and I don't like it. This is what happened and I don't like it. Here are my opinions directly. Do you know how many comedians have a huge chunk of people from a political sector that they do not love? And they do the same thing? They'll just say things, hey, but they'll make their content, they'll make their jokes that make it obvious that they have their own political view. And it's not necessarily an entire political view, which again is kind of the problem. It's politics, but throw out the politics, throw out the left and right. You have policy, you have things that happen that you disagree with or you agree with that you should be able to express without being considered this or that. And that's how I think all human beings should work. Our politics doesn't kind of encourage that, but I think it's harmful to exist in that place where you fell into the trap of thinking that you had to exist in one of those pockets, and you lifted yourself out of being an individual who swung in the balance of things, and you placed yourself snugly into an echo chamber that seems heavily motivated by your partner. I'm not going to talk too much about your partner. I don't like to bring other people into stuff. But I think that's one of the things that people maybe see or feel that hasn't been articulated so much. I'm not making this video because I want to shame anybody. I'm making this video because I wanted to articulate things that maybe people felt as your fans that weren't complaining about you having a partner that does this thing, or you having opinions that don't reflect what I thought your opinions were before. I don't care what your opinions are. Be funny, dude. And again, if that's not what your goal is, cool. But I'd just say it's sad to have lost what felt like such a creative mind be what feels like controlled by a combination of a narrative and an individual who's also controlled by that narrative. I feel like this is a YouTube apology. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I mean, I still like you. I think you mean well, and I'll never talk bad about a person that I think means well. I just think that you deserve to criticize yourself more, not depend on other people. In your own words, you've said things about your partner being better than you, smarter than you, a better speaker, whatever. God, the agency and the confidence that you seemed to have before was something that I would even say was inspiring for me. And it seems like you've kind of undid that after, I don't know, being convinced or recognizing, or a combination of the two, that you were just in the wrong place doing the wrong things. And the solution that you've found was to do something that almost feels like a born again Christian button. Like, you can just delete all of these things in your history that you disagreed with by changing the person that you are. You shouldn't have to do that. You can say that those things were wrong, the specific things that you felt like were not great. You can talk about those things, and you can lose the fans that you lose. But you lost a lot more, and I feel like that's because you made a bigger transition than that. It wasn't a transition of opinions or thoughts or feelings. It was a transition in the person that you are. And if you feel like that was growth for you, awesome. I'd also say, just as a public figure, you can't expect people to be on board with it. And yeah, it seems like you're okay with people not being on board with it. So hey, shout out to you. I hope that you're having a great life. I'm not, again, doing this to shame anybody or say anything bad. I just feel like, as a person who doesn't necessarily feel like I'm on board with the opinions of why a lot of people say that they don't like you, I feel like there's a smaller demographic of people who feel the way that I do, in that I don't care about the details. I just care about the body of work that it feels like you have completely separated from, and you stripped yourself away from a level of creativity that brings up questions. You can be a creative that brings up questions in your content, and some of it is just ridiculous, some of it is absurdist, whatever, but there's no reason to shame yourself for having done that stuff, and there's no reason to not do those things if it can potentially encourage certain thoughts, or you accumulate a certain demographic that you don't want in one way or the other. You can talk to those people, and you can still be creative, because as you said, you did not have certain political views at those points, and you have the same political views that you do now that you did then. You can maintain those and still make the comedy and the content and the whatevers that you want to make. There are plenty of people who do that, and I'm not saying that I don't respect you, but what I'm saying is that I have a level of respect for people who don't necessarily think that they need to be a part of an echo chamber and constantly pushing a certain narrative in order to show that they're a good person. I think they call that virtue signaling. But you could and should be able to make jokes and them just be jokes. That's just my opinion. I know there are people who feel like your jokes need to be reflective of your opinion. Not me. You can just be a person and say whatever you want. And also say, when you're giving your honest opinion, what you actually agree with and disagree with in reality. There's so many people who do it, and that's kind of a part of being a person. That's kind of a part of how expression works, and that's kind of a part of how art works. And you've stripped yourself of that creativity altogether by removing the art. I think that's what the issue has been for me, is that you've removed the art, and now you are purely narrative. You could have been art and narrative. You could have separated those spaces and presented them to your audience and weeded out whoever you didn't want, or kept people, which I would prefer, keep people who might disagree with you here and there. What's the problem with that? You don't want to interact or be fans with, or blah blah blah, with anyone who thinks whatever few things in a certain that is an active echo chamber you've created. And I don't know who still supports, but you do still have supporters, and they're probably a part of that echo chamber as well. Well, anyway, I hope that you have a great life, and that's not me being facetious or passive aggressive. I really do hope that you have a great life, and I hope that everything in your life goes well. I know that this sounds really bad. I'm autistic, okay? I don't hope anything, dude. Just like, do your thing. I guess I also wanted to add that even through all of that, I respect a person who is willing to lose their audience or whatever means of livelihood, I guess, in order to right their wrongs. Like, the way that I perceive it is that you have deleted a problematic character, or you thought that there was a character that was harmful and you decided to get rid of that character. I respect that. Yeah. And I also just, there's also, you lose people that don't hate you too. And here I am, and here we are, I guess. I just wanted to make that clear. Like, not everyone that you lost is someone who hates you. You've also lost people who just don't care about what you say or do these days. The character that you've created, because as a public figure, whatever you're doing on the internet, you're a character. So you hate you, but you're anyway. Subscribe and do a thing. This is Demented and whatever and blah blah blah, and pointing here and pointing there, and doing the whole YouTube thing. iDubbbz, we miss you, dude. We'll never forget. I still watch your old stuff. Same thing for Ethan, kinda. But this is not a this or that. This is not. I don't care. We just, we're all demented, right?